What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? It's your boy Chris Style. I got the squad up in here. We got some things to get into. D-Hop to the Chiefs. Is it a possibility? We're going to talk about it. Let's talk Chiefs.
Yeah. Arrowhead Chiefs. It's your girl, Miss Nicole. Queen of Hustle, baby. Started from the bottom, now we here. My homie at the start of his career. Let's go. Try to win him early, hear the truth. Tuning every Sunday for the juice. Arrowhead Chief Podcast, bringing all the news. If you missed the play, come back for reviews. Chris Style, out here rapping for the crew. Post game highlights, go subscribe on YouTube. If you missed the play, come back for reviews. Post game highlights, go subscribe on YouTube.
Arrowhead Chief Podcast, episode 129. We got a lot to discuss today. D-Hop to the Chiefs. Is it a possibility? Before we get into that, what's up, Clarence?
What's that? Hey, real quick. Country, just watch the show and I'll explain it to you, dog. Just watch the show. All right? It's not negative. I'm not being negative. Not at all. Just asking. Just maybe I'm reading too much into it, bro. Just hear me out. Just hear me out.
Did I miss something?
Real way. What's going on?
What happened? What country said?
Got me curious.
Yeah, country got beef on the wrestling level. You know what I'm saying?
He said,
We got beef on wrestling.
Right.
But when it comes,
Right.
What happened? What did he say to you? Oh, you being negative?
No. It's just been this whole dust storm that I kicked up when I asked, was it a luxury or a need for D-Hop? You know what I'm saying? And it's continued. You know what I'm saying? And I started looking into it like maybe it is a need for real. You know what I'm saying? And then he pivoted and he was like, yeah. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Clarence, we might be on the same one, but we'll get there. We'll get to that road.
Well, let's go ahead and start. Well, how y'all fellas? Ty, Mark, how y'all doing, man? Y'all good, man?
Hey, just coming off this Memorial Day weekend, so
Y'all had some barbecue yesterday? Because I sure in the hell didn't.
Not really. I kind of got away from the barbecue because I know it's going to be barbecue season
Hey,
all
yo,
summer
I watched
out here. So
You watched the what?
Yo, Pete, I watched the show yesterday called My Grill versus Asian guy. And like he was cooking up some, just out of this world shit, like on the grill. Like, check that shit out. I grabbed me a couple recipes. So I'm finna be Chef Boyardee Negro and on that grill this summer, dog. For real.
What's his name?
What's the name of it?
His name is Dale. I can't remember his last name. But the show is in My Grill.
Yeah,
bro. Yeah, bro.
Hey, low key,
adopted.
Those are the people that usually have something up their sleeve where it sounds like a bad combination. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, this dude actually. Now, if it was something simple like now for something simple like Steve or something like that, then I'd be concerned.
yeah.
He made these brats and he mixed it, he flipped it, he put like a cheddar sauce on top of it, like, and it looked out of this world, bro.
Look at
like,
Chris over there.
A couple recipes.
Ain't gonna looking good right there.
You know what I'm saying? Mouth watering and shit. Yeah.
It was a special Velveeta jalapeno.
A little salt bay.
Shit. Yep. Some of that. For sure. Oh,
it was a special Velveeta with a splash of jalapeno.
He did some lamb ribs and he basted in like what was it?
Me hungry.
Vietnamese, or I think it was Vietnamese barbecue sauce, like, and he put it on the back and he showed how back
You making the internet malfunction.
It looks so far.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm back.
Made a watermelon drink, bro. So he got a seedless. He got a seedless watermelon, right? He scraped. He got thing out. Then he took this. It's like a long mixer thing to break up everything else in there. Then he put what he took out. He put that back in. Made this enormous watermelon drink, dog. I mean, it was. Y'all just gotta see it, bro. It looked. Oh my god, I was so fucking hungry, bro. I was like, this nigga is getting down. A meatball sub. Oh my, I mean, ice cream sandwiches. So he took like like the pound cake or the yellow cake, put it on the grill for a second, let it get the grill marks on it, took the ice cream.
Oh yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Thick ice cream, put it on there, had the sandwiches, then he'd take it and he'd roll it in M&Ms and any type of candy or whatever, cookie crumbles, you name it. Like, I mean, bro was on his shit, man. He was on his shit.
Like a good time.
All of this in my life. All of it. But I digress. Let's get back into this football.
That segment was sponsored by.
All right, that's the show.
Yeah. Segment was sponsored by Hungry Bros. Hungry Bros in KC. We stay hungry.
Right.
I digress.
All right, fellas, let's go ahead and get into it. DeAndre Hopkins was released from the Cardinals. Now, there was speculation about this happening. You know what I'm saying? Some people were talking about him getting released. But we also heard him in trade talks before the draft, during the draft, even a little bit after the draft. People were talking about DeAndre Hopkins being traded, maybe to the Chiefs, to the Bills, or whatever team, whatever team wanted his services. But the problem was his contract. I think he's supposed to get $19 million this year. And that number was a little bit too high, especially for the Kansas City Chiefs. If anything about Brett Veach,
especially,
he's a bargain shopper.
Yeah, for real.
He is the dude that went to Walmart and to the $5 bin to the DVDs and got all the DVDs for $5. That's how he shops for wide receivers.
Him and Harbaugh in the same company because Harbaugh is about them khaki pants.
Straight out.
Veach went to Foot Locker and he would get the 4 for $20 t-shirts. That's what he would do. That's how he bargain shops for wide receivers. You know what I'm saying? So it was speculated they were going to get him. And we're hearing now that, they even got permission to even talk to DeAndre Hopkins because I guess DeAndre Hopkins doesn't have an agent. He's his own agent. So they got permission to talk to him. Even they were speculated that he was going to offer him a contract. They had the contract talks worked out. And then the damn Ravens came in and gave OBJ that stupid-ass contract. And it messed everything all up.
Well, to your point, Chris, I want to say something before you continue. They said that they had the Donovan Smith-like contract lined up. Let me just say this right now. DeAndre Hopkins is not signing that deal or anything similar to that deal. So I don't know. I don't see it.
Well, first of all, let's just get this out the way because every year we get these top tier receivers or some top tier defensive end or whatever say, "Oh man, I want to win a championship. It ain't about the money. I don't care about the money." And then they get released, and it's like, "Oh no, man, I need the bag." Well, in the NFL, unfortunately, most of the top tier teams, guess what? They don't have a lot of money. Because they got to tie in contracts as a quarterback or a defensive end or a wide receiver. They ain't got the money to be dishing out like that. So most of the bad teams got all the money. So either you want the bag and suck, which you should just stayed in Arizona for that shit.
Well, no,
Right.
no, you shouldn't have stayed in AZ. No,
I'm just saying, you might as well stay in Arizona.
No. Cleveland's out there. You know,
But
you
I
got a
don't think
team like
That'd be a
Cleveland.
good spot for him.
But I
You
don't
got-
think Cleveland is a bad team.
Me either.
I just think that Deshaun Watson, he just had a lot of stuff going on last year, and he really couldn't focus. I think this year he's coming in, going to be focused. He's going to be ready to go.
Well, he only played 7 games last year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
6
that's-
games, yeah.
He came in the middle of the season.
Yeah, so I don't see him duplicating what he looked like last year. I think he's going to be 10 times better than what he looked like last year. So I actually don't think Cleveland's a bad team. I just think that the quarterback situation was compromised last year to his own doing, but it was compromised. But, you know, I think it's going to be better this year. Plus, they loaded up on some positions over there, especially on the defensive end, getting Darius Smith. I think that pass rush is going to be formidable. Him and Miles Garrett. So you got Juan back there. I think Juan's going to have something to prove. So I can see Cleveland being all right. And if he goes to Cleveland, he's only going to do is booster their wide receiver.
Yeah.
Him and Amari Cooper.
I was just going to say, imagine him with Amari Cooper.
They
What
run
I say,
the ball.
Elijah Moore
and Njoku at tight end.
I'm gonna say
Elijah
this.
Moore too.
Here's my take on it, though. I think a lot of
dope.
teams. I think a lot of teams, though, from opposite conferences, you have that one team that's actually in very similar situations. I think the Browns and the Cowboys are in very similar situations where the pressure and the heat is on the quarterback and head coaching combination. That's just the reality of it. I mean, you're talking about a coach, for the Browns and everything. I don't think that would be a bad fit either. But you're talking about a combination where the Browns had success for 1 year, then all of a sudden they fell off the cliff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it could be the very same thing with Deshaun Watson, who actually have another year, and it's a lot. It's a lot on a player. We kind of experienced that with Frank Clark and some of the different things that was going on in the off season, some of the distractions and whatnot, and then the anticipation. I thought, Deshaun Watson was going through the same thing, the anticipation, having to deal with some of the ongoing things, and fans saying stuff. Fans are going to be fans and all that, but it don't help with the media doing that. Sometimes the media can be an enemy. But I think they'll be fine. I just think it's going to be a very similar situation. It's like as far as like the Browns and the Cowboys and how they carry their season now. But I do believe that the NFC North though is going, or not NFC North, AFC North though is going to be very competitive, and that's what's going to make it that much better.
I could see that. Now, from the Cardinals' perspective, before we get into more into DeAndre, from the Cardinals' perspective, we all know that they're tanking the season.
Trash.
Yep.
Like personally,
Caleb Williams.
Personally, I think that they're gonna sit what's your name on ice for the season because you cannot risk him going back out there and hurting himself again because he's already shown to be injury prone because he's small. So if he gets hit, Kyler Murray. If he gets hurt, if he gets hit, he gets hurt. Now you devalue his trade value. At least if you sit him for a year, let him heal that ACL for a whole year. Somebody's gonna go get Kyler Murray. I don't care who it is. Somebody will go get Kyler Murray. Now Arizona already got the second pick in the draft. Now imagine if they get the first and the second pick. Now you can get Caleb
and Marvin Harrison
Jr. Now you're set on all. You got your two.
You're set for years, like 15 years.
Those two can grow together, and you going in the right direction. So I think that they're going full on tank. They're going to trade away all the. I don't think DeAndre Hopkins is it. I think they're going to trade some more pieces away. Buda Baker probably going to be gone. He'll probably go somewhere. Isaiah Simmons, watch out for him too.
They already declined his 5th-year option.
So, they'll be mid-season trades. That's what I think. You don't see a lot of that.
Well, before the season actually starts.
That too in July.
Like, that week after that preseason game, it's going to be super active.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Cuts
cuts. You got the cuts. Everybody's finalizing that.
The injuries that happen throughout training camp.
You bring in the vets that you think can get it done for you, which is an opportune time. Like if you focusing on Chris, do you really like Frank? Frank's this type of player that he really don't need training camp. You know what I'm saying? Right. So you can bring Frank in.
But part of the reason I would want Frank at training camp would be so he could mentor the FAU, the younger guys.
But that's why you got Big George there now. You know what I'm saying? George got the game from Frank last year, so you're not really pressed to say, do we need Frank in here in training camp, yeah, it would be perfect situation to bring Frank in there. But if you had to wait that week, that dead week, while they're finalizing that 53, that allows Frank to come in, start to get his legs underneath him. Spags is going to rotate this D line anyway, especially week 1 against Detroit.
Yeah.
Because the question mark for Detroit is they run game. It's not they passing attack. You know what I'm saying? They solid in the passing game. The question mark for Detroit is the running game.
Because they lost Jamal Williams. Yeah.
We lost both of them.
We'll see.
And you're replacing it with inexperience back there.
Well, they got David Montgomery back there, so.
Yeah. But Montgomery, I'm not.
I like David Montgomery.
Is Dave Montgomery, you talking about same Dave Montgomery been wearing 88 like past 13,000 years?
He's talking about time. That's time. He's from Chicago. The running back from Chicago.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. David. Yeah, 32. Okay, yeah.
He's just had a bad offensive line. I mean, his whole time in Chicago.
Yeah.
I think, and even so, is kind of getting on the subject with Detroit. You're talking about a team, and they're not used to being under the stage of the lights and all that stuff. So that's going to be interesting to see how that that whole week 1 unfolds. But also to even contribute to the whole Clark conversation. I think the quicker that gets resolved, that's unnecessary. I mean, the Chiefs function well when they have limited distractions.
I don't think Detroit is. I don't think they're going to come in intimidated by this. I think that they've been the underdogs for so long, and they come in and they feel like they've been disrespected for so long. They're like, this is our coming out party.
Yeah,
you look at last year when they went to Lambeau and won, all of them was saying we ain't going to the playoffs and we keeping Green Bay out. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? At least we got Green Bay out of the playoffs. Like. That's what they are now. They want to be the villains, and they embrace that role in Detroit.
It took that, but even so for Detroit, though, it took for them to lose that close one against the Bills. That's what it took. I thought that was where their turning point was. I remember sitting there looking at that game. I'm like, they got a chance to beat them, and then it was just that one part of the game where I think they settled for the field goal, and they were hoping for overtime.
And then Jared Goff. 4th and 1, or was it 3rd and 1?
It was a 3rd and 1, and then they threw it. Yeah, it just looked like a team it looked like a team and a coach that had never been in that situation
right there.
Before.
Yeah,
it was right there for the taking.
But the quarterback's been there.
Yeah,
the quarterback's been there. The quarterback has played in big games.
Yeah,
he played in the Super Bowl. He played in the NFC Championship game. He played in that Monday night shootout with the Chiefs. Like, he's been in these big moments. That entire year when he was with the Rams, like, that was a big platform for them that entire year. Like, they had the Rams on the prime time. I'm sorry, the Vikings on the prime time that year. They had Green Bay late afternoon on Fox game. Like, all of their games were, like, magnified on the big stage that year for the Rams. Like, Jared Goff, like, I know they drafted Hendon Hooker to come in eventually and be the guy, but Jared Goff can still get it done in this league. You look at his numbers last year, they're not as bad as people think.
No,
not 27 TDs to 9 picks. Like,
their offense was
over 4,000 yards. Yeah.
Their offense was on the incline.
Like,
but to your point, last year, Clarence, with the running game, they had Jamal Williams, who, what did he break the record? Like 16 touchdowns.
16 rushing
Lions
touchdowns.
franchise record. They had DeAndre Swift, who could complement Jamal Williams perfectly.
Yeah.
And now they're going in there with a completely new backfield, and it's kind of, I mean, David Montgomery's probably definitely filling that Jamal Williams role, being that power back. And then
what's the kid?
Jahmyr Gibbs. Yeah, he'll be playing that Swift role. But Detroit, I like what they've done, but now they got all these suspensions. They got a lot of distractions this offseason. They just suspended the 6th guy on the Lions for the whole gambling thing. So that's a huge distraction, especially when your first round pick a year ago was involved in that. So I think, they'll weather that storm, but I don't expect it to be early in the season. I kind of think they'll have a slowish start and then figure it out from there.
I mean, I will, but even so, despite all the pieces, and some of the trouble things, that comes with maturity, because really they're a very young team. But I
Yes.
think overall, though, is like even so alluding to the success of golf is that you have that offensive minded guy on the other side. So the fact that they have an OC coming back, I thought was huge because I think he was in the race for one of these head coaching jobs somewhere.
So
But
answer me this:
Yep.
the guys that they'll be without the first half of the season, are these like major contributors? Because I mean, homeboy that at wide out, I don't even think he got his feet going last year.
He had
Like,
one catch, one touchdown.
Yeah, like
he was coming off an ACL.
Yeah. So I mean, like, and that's the thing about this team. Like, they are so built to deal with anything. Like, he's prepared that squad to be able to face the facts on everything that's coming, and just say, you know what, it is what it is. But we're gonna go out here and we're gonna challenge y'all. You know, I've been saying for years that one of the toughest places for teams to go, top teams to go, is up to Detroit. And you can go back and you can look at, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Like, that was like one of them games where it's like it could have went either way in that game. Like, the Chiefs
And there was a
have
bad call that
approaches.
definitely cost Detroit that game.
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Like, they've always been tough in Detroit. They've always been tough up there. So now you put that element with the fact that they can go on the road and get a win the same way that they win these games in Detroit. Like, not to say that they're going to come in the Arrowhead and surprise the Chiefs on opening day. Like, that's not what Andy's about. But, I mean, that's going to be a huge building block for them moving forward throughout the season.
Yeah, that'll be a huge confidence.
They're going to make the playoffs this year, whether they win the North in the NFC or not. They get in this year. Like, there's no question about that. I don't see that second half of the season for Detroit just being some fluke. Like,
no,
they finally kicked.
They were basically
open.
They were right there at the beginning of the season in a lot of those games. It was just
because
really
the offense
here and there
was explosive. You know,
the
you couldn't deny
secondary
offense.
was awful.
It was the defense.
Yeah,
and now you got that the rookie from last year for them with a full year, and he dominated. He played solid all year for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they got an attitude on defense now and they got
they added the
number
dude from
44
Philly
on defense at linebacker. You know, listen, man, Detroit is serious.
They got CJ Mosley, didn't they?
They got CJ Mosley, you said?
Mm-hmm.
No, I think he's still on the Jets, right?
No, I think he went to the Lions.
Well, that's a huge pickup if they added him too, because you had Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and then one of the most underrated players on that defense is James Houston. I mean, 8 sacks last year in 8 games.
What about the rookie from last year, Rodriguez or whatever? He was a rookie last year. Oh, I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name now. He was a linebacker, wasn't he?
Yep, Malcolm Rodriguez. Yeah. Okay, let's see.
And then you add in CJ Mosley with that.
No CJ Mosley. They got Emmanuel Mosley from the Niners.
Okay, I knew it was a Mosley. I knew they had some Mosley over there.
But that, I mean, really, since we're talking about D-Hop and this kind of got brought up, I think Detroit wouldn't be a bad landing spot for D-Hop. I mean, I know nobody historically wants to go to Detroit, but they are moving in the right direction. They could use another receiver. I think you throw him in there that moves St. Brown to second wide receiver, which if he's your second wide receiver, you're doing pretty good. So I definitely think that would be a good spot for him too. Underrated spot, but nobody's really talking about that much.
Yeah, it wouldn't be bad timing for that either, because even so, you're talking about a complete division that's in I'll say a complete rebuild.
Yeah,
because
Marvin Jones went back to Detroit from Jacksonville. He went back to Detroit.
No, the receiver, yeah. He's a good number 3, number 4.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So their projection right now is Josh Reynolds, Amon-Ra, and Marvin Jones.
Ain't bad.
And then Jameson Williams once he
Sam Laporta at tight end. Yeah.
And then you give D-Hop a chance to play in a dome. I mean, which something he's done his whole career. So That might be a somewhat of
If
a
they
factor.
if they
in
throw the
that.
bag at him, you know. My whole thing is with D Hop. Like I guess we breaking into this era where we're starting to devalue wide receivers. Because I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, well, he's 31. He don't deserve that type of money at 31." Like, I'm sorry, the last time I checked, like 31 is not old for a wide receiver, especially if he's still in the top 3 in the league. Like, why wouldn't you like you'd be a fool if you D Hop and you still able to do the things that he's doing at that level? Why wouldn't you say, "Listen, I want 23"?
Side note:
At
DeAndre Hopkins
31.
just signed. He hired an agent.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So I mean,
So he wants
why
that
wouldn't
bag.
you?
Clutch
Why
Sports.
wouldn't you?
I agree. Yeah,
That's actually a good move for him.
it
You know,
is.
like why is it, you know, everybody posted, like somebody posted that article about McCaffrey and the devaluation of running backs. That shit's been on the decline since the early 2000s, where they want to devalue backs. So now we're gonna start trying to devalue wide receivers. Like if you posting a top 5, if you post a top 3, D Hop's in that conversation.
Yep.
He better be in that conversation. Even at 31, 32, he better still be in that conversation because he's still beating double teams.
And he played 7 games last year, had 700 something yards.
Like the first 4 weeks that he was back in Arizona, they force fed him.
Yep.
They force fed the shit out
They
of
needed
him.
a jump start because
Yes, and he produced.
dud.
And
Yep.
he produced. So for people to think that he does not deserve that 23, you're crazy.
No.
Yeah, it's too big of a price tag for Kansas City. Yes.
Yeah, it
But
is.
there's a team out there that will pay him,
Yep.
and he's worth it. That's the thing, though. He's worth that money.
And Clarence, this is probably the last chance he's going to get to really get that money, unless he signs a 1-year deal. When 31's not old, necessarily, but
at all.
You're getting close to, signing your last contracts, and this is probably his last chance to get that big bag. So I can't be mad at him for wanting to get it.
And he's worth it. He's still, but
he's earned it.
You know what I'm saying?
He's earned it.
Look at the production he put in last year alone in Arizona, going through all that cycle of quarterbacks again, like he had to deal with in Houston.
Yep.
You know what I'm
if
saying?
I was him and I seen what OBJ got, I would be thinking the same thing. I should get more than that.
Yeah,
I've been more productive. I've been more healthy.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well,
he deserves that 23.
Well, I'll say this, and I'm not saying that they're totally right. I don't totally agree with this, but the reason why Chiefs Kingdom, because I'm pretty sure Clarence, you're talking about Chiefs Kingdom was devaluing the wide receiver, because I see it on the timeline.
Because
we don't need
because
this
of last year.
It's because of last year. We did it with Juju. We did it with MVS. And, of course, we have Travis Kelce, which is
right.
The
but Juju's gone. But Juju's gone now.
I agree. And we don't. And we have we have a real unknown compared to last year. The unknown last year was, can Juju stay healthy enough?
Right.
And can MVS take that next step? That was the unknown for last year.
The difference between last year and this year was last year we had guys that were new in the offense but weren't like new receivers in the league. We got guys that are just still finding their way of how to be receivers in the league. Juju had done that.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's the difference is the Chiefs are taking the same philosophy that they took with the DB room.
Yep.
And they're doing it with the receivers this year. They said,
let's throw numbers at it.
They saw it. They saw it work with the DB room. We're just gonna throw numbers at it. Trent McDuffie, he's a first-round pick. So boom, we got him and L'Jarius Sneed. We good. But now let's throw some more numbers. Joshua Williams, a dude from HBCU who has all the potential, speed, height, all that. Jalen Watson, same thing, a ball hawk, played in the Pac-12. Najee Johnson, a speed guy, like he's fast. And so they doing the same thing with wide receiver. Okay, we got Kadarius Toney. We thought highly of him in the draft.
Right.
His only problem is he can't stay healthy. We drafted Scott Moore last year. We know the potential in this kid. He just had to learn the offense last year. I don't think because everybody said, "Oh, he had a down year." I don't think he had a down year. I just think he had a typical rookie.
I don't think your rookie year can be a down
go
year.
look at that Chargers game. If you think he had a down year, go look at the Chargers game.
Yeah,
that Chargers game. There's nothing else to be said about.
He produced with the opportunities given.
Scott Moore's opportunities. Yeah.
Right.
When you look at the percentages breakdown, he's right at the top with the open percentages and everything.
That closed the door on any debate that anybody should have about Sky.
I agree.
That game in itself.
It did.
Yeah. So they put a second round pick, and then they do it again this year with what's his name, Rashee Rice.
Yeah.
They get him.
But hold on, no, Chris. So you only have to be right once, right?
Mm-hmm.
You only have to be wrong once too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
True.
I mean, what are we? I mean, the system is beautiful. What Veach is able to do is incredible, but he's still a human.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Human error can occur. So what if? You know what I'm saying? Are we prepared to deal with that? Because let's go back and look. MVS is the history of MVS has always been going back to Lambeau or his time in Green Bay. He'll be healthy one year, then that next year, he's in and out of the lineup constantly. So you're talking about the drops on top of him not being in the lineup consistently. After a year where he'll put up 56, 60 catches for 700, 800 yards, drops, all of that. But the numbers are still there enough to say, okay, this is why he's here as a 2 or a 3. You know what I'm saying? But that year later, it's a groin injury. It's a hamstring injury. It's all of these things that just continue to occur for him, and it keeps him out of that lineup. All right? Then you go to Kadarius Toney. Who taught him how to be a polished wide receiver in New York? Who showed him that? So we're banking on Toney coming in here, buckling down, learning this offense, but the uncertainty is, can he stay healthy? You know what I'm saying? Who taught him how to be a true wide receiver to lead all of this youth that's behind him? You know what I'm saying? Then we go to a Justin Ross who has never played even a preseason game in the league yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, realistically, the only guys that we're going into this thing with a little assurity is Sky and Justin Watson
and Richie James
and Ricky James. Like that's
I know.
I mean that's what made me think maybe this is more of a need than luxury. That's what made me read into it a little bit more.
And even so, I mean, let's dive a little bit deeper in this thing. As far we're just talking about the receiver room and whatnot. I think also, despite what the receiver looked like, it also changed Mahomes' thought process when it actually came to actually execute in the offense. That's why you start to see the production of the running game. Our number one when it comes to the period is Travis Kelce.
Absolutely.
Bottom line,
Absolutely.
point blank, period.
Absolutely.
And then I think it wasn't solely just on him, but we had to see the evolution of how they could use the running backs, and that took off some of the load as far as it can deal with the receivers. It was just whoever was going to be, or whoever was productive, or whoever
showed up that week.
Exactly. That's just pretty much how they roll. That's what makes it very intriguing. Like I said, you could argue it being a need, you could argue it being a luxury. I'm on the fence. Like, would I love to have him? Sure. Has Mahomes proved that? Has Mahomes and the Chiefs and the offense proved that they could do it without a one receiver? Yes, they did, obviously. So it's like we're in a very unique situation because of the fact that we have 1-5 sitting back there and we have a great head coach in running this thing. And how that's going to execute going the next year. Obviously, everybody has their concerns, stuff like that. It's like, well, we need a number one. We don't need a number one.
But Travis is the number one.
You're absolutely right. Not every team can say that. Not every. I mean, the way that the game has evolved, the way that Andy Reid just dials up plays and calls plays, though, just absolutely mind blowing. You can make the same argument even with Tom Brady, kind of in a sense, because he needed Gronk in order for him to get over the top with a lot of those games.
Well, Andy's system is usually he tries to make it to where it's not a number one wide receiver centric offense. That's why
Right.
he wants all the receivers to learn every position on the field, because you could be the number one receiver on this play, but you're gonna be the number one receiver on that play. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right.
that's how he tries to run it. Now,
Right.
when he had Tyreek Hill, it was just kind of hard. you got to use that speed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just hard not. That guy is the number. He just looks like the number one.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
But
it
don't
was
you
kinda
think
hard.
DeAndre Hopkins would be that if he comes into this offense? I mean,
I think it would be a little different because he's not. Him and Tyree's game is so.
well,
different.
yeah, they're way different. But
Yeah.
but you
But-
can just look at him and see that this is
I mean,
a wide receiver.
It has to be. It has to be the way that it was last year. Like, you have to have a consistent guy at wide receiver to help out Travis. You know what I'm saying?
We
If
had
everybody
Juju.
else stays in their lane and plays their role. You feel me? Like, and that's the question mark now with Juju being gone. Like, DeAndre Hopkins, you think about Hop compared to Juju, like Hop is gonna get those routes and get rack yards.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? He's gonna get you more yardage after those catches. Whereas Juju is not as versatile and athletic like that. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention it frees up everything else, like, so you can get Sky Moore open, you can get Kadarius Toney open. You know what I'm saying? And they watching D Hop in practice, so that year later, D Hop want to go, or whatever the case may be, like, you've gotten that knowledge and that experience, and you see it on the field. You see that growth.
That's
You
the
know
but
what I'm
that's
saying? And that's
but
what
that's
we
the-
could be missing.
I think you could go with both sides on this, with it being a need or luxury. Because for me, I'm still going to lean towards luxury because of what we said. But and then what Chris said and what you said, Clarence, to your point, yeah, there's a lot of unknowns when you look at this wide receiver room. If the most proven guy like in this room this year was Richie James or MVS, I'm a little bit worried about that. I'm not gonna lie. We're going into the season with question marks. Do I think Kadarius Toney could be a wide receiver one? Yeah, I do. But I think if you move him to wide receiver two,
So what still makes you feel like it's a luxury? It would be a luxury.
It would be a luxury.
What gives you that feeling still?
Because we won the Super Bowl with the wide receiver core we had last year.
But we had Juju.
Yeah, it's true. But DeAndre Hopkins to me is better than Juju.
Hopkins brings a unique set of attention, though. I mean, granted, Kelsey does the same thing. And when you had Hill and Kelsey, it was almost like pick your poison. Which one do you want to guard?
That's
what made it so difficult. And having Hopkins is really a quarterback or the kind of receiver but having somebody like Hopkins is somebody that Mahomes really hasn't had. You can argue any receiver over the last couple of years, and Hopkins does not bring that kind of attention that any other previous receiver does. So it's a very unique situation. That's why, to me, it's more of a luxury more than anything. It would be, and in the sense of it, it could be a need for the sense of mentorship, and also because the language of the Chiefs is versatile, and let's just be open and honest. They're looking to get younger, like you're supposed to. So it would be a great build up to that, and it'll also be a great way to almost like to pass the torch. So that way you're not in a situation where, okay, your veterans are out, now who's the next one, and then your young core isn't ready.
I think the person that would benefit the most for D-Hop being there is Rashee Rice, because I think his game is very similar to a D-Hop.
He said he modeled his game after Hopkins, so I mean, you let him learn from him, and then you slide Kadarius Toney to wide receiver too, which I think, and really he could be a great wide receiver too in the league. He's one of those guys. He's probably a decent one, but he's a top tier two.
I can't see him as a one. I can't.
I could see because you see the skill set. You see
exactly.
You see the skill set, but he's never done it consistently. That's the thing.
No, you're right.
He's never been in a lineup consistently. Even while he was here, he was missing time. Even while he was here, he was missing.
If you don't think, look, I'll just say this. If you don't think he could be wide receiver one, I bring this up all the time. Go watch those Cowboys highlights. Just watch every route he ran in that game. He could be wide receiver one.
But he hasn't done it consistently.
Yeah, I agree with you, Clarence. I agree with that. But you know, the unique part about that, one, maybe DeAndre Hopkins can get us some health tips. Two, because of Mahomes and how he's able to spread the ball, I think that's going to be the one thing that's able to conserve people like Tony and some of the injury questions that we do have. We still have other questions that we do have as far as what Ross is going to look like coming off an injury. I got a lot of those things. I'm kind of like got my I'm not sure I'm being optimistic, but I'm like I think what I'm seeing from the offseason with Ross, though, he could be the wild card that nobody's talking about. Then all of a sudden that could just take off. We don't know that. But I agree, though, it's hard to believe and register Tony as a 1. But I think with the ball distribution, though, especially if they do anything like they did last year with the running backs and getting them involved, and Pacheco, I mean, who's to say that if he goes off early and everything, that would take a load off of Mahomes too as well.
And McKinnon coming back obviously is huge in that receiving room.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to run the football then.
Oh, you have to, regardless.
You have to make a commitment to running the football. You banking on guys that are Tyreek's build with a notch lower speed than Tyreek. You have to run the football.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make a commitment to running the football.
Mm-hmm. And maybe they're finally going to do it.
What made this work for so long was the fact that there was nothing like Tyreek Hill anywhere else that could just blow a coverage up. Regardless of who was back there, he could blow it up completely. And you didn't have to worry about on first down them respecting that play action fake, because regardless of whether they paid attention to it or not, Reek was down there and he is already blown past your safety and he's open. Where now you got to have some deception. You got to send Kadarius on a jet sweep fake. You know what I'm saying? You got to have Travis coming over the backside on a deep cross. You know what I'm saying? The other guy on the backside got to be running a go route. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to have all these smoke and mirrors going on. So the only other way to do this is you're going to have to make a commitment to run the football.
They have to.
Tony be having them on stakes, though.
Running the football, and definitely, like I said, that's all contributing to getting the running backs involved. It has to. I mean, the Chiefs have figured that out as far as it wasn't necessarily. It didn't result in a 1,000-yard rushing year, but I mean, you can speculate on that. Pacheco didn't start the season, and also you're talking about the identity as far as trying to adjust and run back to the next.
It's gonna have to be different from the standpoint. Even in the running game, it's gonna have to be different because you got Pacheco, you got McKinnon, and between the two of them, like it's like they had this scripted out where, okay, Pacheco's gonna get 3 carries, McKinnon's gonna get 4 carries, Pacheco's gonna get 6 carries, McKinnon gonna get 3 carries, and between them, we're gonna get to that number of 15, 16, 17 carries. No, it can't be like that.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to make a commitment to Pacheco being that dude.
And I think they will, because even so, because who's the last 1,000-yard rusher that they had?
Kareem.
Yep, and that was back in 2017. After that, here's the leading numbers as far as with rushers. Hunt the year after that had only 824. Then you had I think that's Damian Williams with 498.
That was Damian Williams.
Then you had Clyde who had 803, and I believe that was his rookie year.
That was his rookie.
And then you dropped off to Darrell Williams who only had 558, and then Pacheco, who had the second highest ever since Kareem Hunt, had 830 in a season where he only started half the season. So I think
you can't give Pacheco the carries in the first quarter and then he don't touch the ball no more until
the fourth quarter.
No,
you can't do that no more.
No, they gotta have balance. They gotta have Pacheco running the ball, and they gotta stay consistent and making sure even those passing block plays where you see McKinnon getting those 8, who have those touches out the backfield. That's what makes it unique. It takes the pressure off of Kelsey having to get open. It takes the pressure of having to make sure you have somebody off the top. That's why I'm very curious. And even so, I think the elimination of the fullback position that opens up a spot is going to make it that much more interesting too. Yeah. The language has been being versatile, and that's exactly what the Chiefs are doing. It's gonna be crazy next year.
Yeah.
I mean,
this
Tony might be throwing some passes.
he better not. No. Do not make rocket science.
Listen, from what everybody has said, the goal is multiple titles. So if you're doing that, you got to respect the fact that everybody else in the AFC is improving. You got to expect the battle of attrition. Who's going to stay healthy? Who's going to be healthy the end of December, early part of January when you're making that playoff push? You know what I'm saying? We've been fortunate the times that the 2 times that we've won titles, we've been fairly healthy. And we haven't had to do it without a Travis. You know, we haven't had to do it without a Tyreek in those situations.
Mm.
We don't know what this looks like without Travis. See what I'm saying?
And that's why
you see now why I'm looking at all of this, because we've been very fortunate. But the battle of attrition is real, and it hits every team in the league. Every team goes through it. We've just been very fortunate.
Kansas City should really.
What does this look like without a Travis? What does this look like if we actually have to go 4 games without Pat? What does it look like without this left tackle that we're banking on? You see what I'm? No, but it's real.
It is, because even so, let's add on to that.
Let's not just live in this fairy tale where it doesn't exist and it never happens.
No, it does, and it happens.
Because it's a real thing,
and it's happened.
Because even so, with Kansas City, they played the longest seasons to come. I mean, if you look at that for the last 5-6 years,
and now we're gonna have the shortest rest.
Thank you.
That's been the case for the last 5-6 years.
I think I saw that they got like two Monday night games back to back, and it's crazy. This is
then
crazy.
The whole thing where they could flex the Thursday games. We're getting flexed to at least one of them games.
Absolutely.
I hope not. That's trash.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a Sunday night.
It's gonna happen.
You know what I'm saying? And a Sunday night, because they can flex those too.
You almost want them to be in a position to almost lock this thing up by like week 15, week 16, so that way they're resting 17, 18.
Like the Bengals game has it can't have the same meaning this year that
it's not. It was too late. I thought it was way too late.
You can't afford to have that be something that's on the table.
They should have put that in early December. I agree with that.
No.
That should have been more like week 10 through 12. It should have been.
Yeah.
Like it's been like, but that chapter, I feel like in Kansas City is over. Like
what chapter?
Okay, like where the Bengals feel like they are there to knock them off. Like, I mean, that's pretty much been established. Like, nah. Because you go back and you look at the first time that they won in that AFC title game, like that was all on the fact that Pat, that entire offense was just it was nasty.
They didn't run the ball enough. They ran the ball 6 times.
It was so up and down that year offensively, like consistently week after week. We didn't know what type of offense we was gonna get from one week to another from them.
They were turnover prone.
Even that game, it didn't even start. It didn't even start in the second half. It started to collapse toward the end of that first half when they failed in that execution to end that half.
Yeah,
so adjustments were being made, and then it just snowballed.
So if we kicked the field goal, we were still gonna go to the Super Bowl.
So what? But the point I'm trying to get to is like I don't feel like Cincinnati is that big of an issue in regards to where this team is going. Like,
I agree.
Cincinnati they have their own set of issues that they got to contend with. They got to contend with Jacksonville. they got to contend with Baltimore. They got to contend with Cleveland and Pittsburgh.
Yep.
As much as the Chiefs do, but Cincinnati has to beat those teams.
And Cincinnati has to deal with Orlando Brown at left tackle. And
a side note to add on to that, Clarence, you had me rolling when I saw that the whole thread about I've never seen somebody get offended over a compliment and take that as criticism. Like, look, I mean, I don't care if anybody in Cincinnati, if they want to chime in or they're watching or whatever. It was not an insult by any means necessary because that whole division is good.
Yeah,
and even so, and they were talking about, there's only 2 teams that matter. No, that whole division. If Pittsburgh got rolling earlier, like the way they did to close the season out, it would have been a 3-team race. The Browns had the dysfunction, unfortunately, of having injuries and the unknowns, and they were dealing with criticism and all that stuff. That is going to be a close. I mean, whoever said that was a 2-team, cancel your Twitter account right now. Because that is a division to be respected from top to bottom. They're very good, very skilled. Up and rising talent. I have no issues with it at all.
And that's all Claris was trying to do, was give them their flowers.
I couldn't believe it. I don't even want to chime in on this because it's like it was received wrong altogether. Yeah. We said it last week on the podcast. They're a good division, top to bottom. We don't know who's going to come out. There is no guarantees in this league or even in your division. Yeah. Because Cincinnati, I mean, they got blown out by the Browns. If memory serves me.
Jacoby Brissett got them.
What happened is they acted like they've been dominating that division. They act like they've been dominating that division for years.
But that's what gets me, though. That kind of stuff right there. Talking about it's only 2 teams that matter. You got burned. Yes, I understand that was your first game without because that was the game where
Jamar Chase was out.
And then they got on that roll. I mean, I get that. I respect that. Things happen. But that came to show they took an adjustment. That's all football. It happens. But you got to respect the remaining teams in that division from top to bottom. I mean, I couldn't believe it.
And they took it like, y'all need to worry about y'all. Don't worry about. I'm like, no.
We ain't worried about
football fan. First and foremost, you should be a true football fan,
right?
To the point where you can respect every division and respect all teams. Like I respect the AFC North. You know, I was a fan of Pittsburgh Steelers back when they had Le'Veon and Antonio. You know what I'm saying? And Ryan Shazier at linebacker, and Ike Taylor. Like I like those teams. You know what I'm saying? So for me, you know, I'm game recognized game. Like the AFC North is not a game. Like they could potentially have 4 teams in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like they just good. They play really good defense and they can run the football and they can beat your ass. You know, like they are physical teams in the North.
Yeah.
And for them, like the Bengals act like, oh well, y'all shouldn't worry about what we doing over here. Well, y'all the finesse team in that division. Y'all struggle.
We see you.
Y'all struggle without finesse.
And y'all would have lost in the playoffs if Lamar Jackson was playing.
You know what I'm saying?
We see your division just like we see ours and everything. We saw what the Chargers are capable of doing and everything. We did not want to play them. You do not want to play the same opponent 3 times. I don't care. Competition, whatever, and all that stuff. You do not want that to happen. Yep. We seen teams get burned when teams play an opponent. I mean, you talk about the Niners and Rams for a great example.
Yeah.
About the Niners have owned them and everything. The playoff is a different beast.
It's a different story.
Yeah,
it's a different beast.
Yeah, you never want to see the same team 3 times. But I think it's funny that Bengals fans want to say we should worry about our division after they were on Twitter, I mean, all offseason last year, along with other fan bases, saying how the Chiefs were not even going to win the AFC West. We did that. We beat you in the AFC Championship game at home with the Patrick Mahomes that was probably at 60% healthy for that game. And yet you still want to talk like y'all run stuff in the NFL. Like it's such a delusion.
The thing is, Ty, is that they live in this fantasy world.
Yep.
Where that they think that it's a 2-horse race in the AFC. And what they fail to remember is that the Jets improved.
Yep.
The Dolphins improved.
Jacksonville
improved. You know, you got all of these teams that got
all the teams in their division improved.
The Chargers are better.
Chargers got better with a better OC.
Yes, we don't know what Denver is going to bring to the table now with Sean Payton.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like everybody in the AFC got better. So it's not just Cincinnati, Buffalo behind Kansas City. Like it could potentially be Baltimore. 6-7 teams that are competing, like really playing really good football and are right there. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't see Cincy being, you know, what they think they are, man.
Me either.
I really don't.
Get on the level where since he is. I've seen the talks and other stuff. Granted, I respect him, but they're still not on the level as to what Kansas City has done, where they've been division title winner since 14. They haven't been on the level where the Patriots dominated from 2000 all the way up to 13 or whatever it was. And in one of those years, Tom Brady got hurt. So they're not on that level yet. And even so, if you want to talk about last year, you're talking about a team that was rebuilding. You're talking about the Ravens that were going through turmoil and not knowing their quarterback situation. And that's what I saw last year. And the fact that they got that close to losing in the first round, that speaks volumes. I respect what you did to the Bills. But
and their defense got worse.
Yeah, it took a step back.
Because they're counting on guys in that secondary that haven't done it before. And we knew Jesse Bates was like, when Jesse Bates was a huge part of that defense. He reminded me a little bit of when Spags had Tyrann Mathieu, how he got utilized and moved around. And he was a key to everything they did, truly. So losing him.
So basically, to put it in a nutshell, Cincinnati, we see your division, and we're going to see your division. We're going to see it. It's such a tight race. I'm almost predicting there could potentially be 3 teams that come out that division. I can see that. And that's a respect. That's a respect. Not
keep it all the way funky.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about this. Just keep it all the way funky. The last time Deshaun Watson played an entire season, he led the league in passing.
On a bad team, on a terrible,
shitty team.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me that we should just worry about the AFC West and not give props to everybody else when y'all potentially got a young secondary in Cincy, and he's got one of the best route running wide receivers on his squad with him, not to mention one of the best running backs in the league on his squad with him. What makes you think y'all just gonna just roll over the Browns, man? Y'all crazy. Y'all lost to them last year in Cleveland. What makes you think it ain't gonna happen again?
Blown out.
What makes you think
on Monday Night Football
y'all gonna duplicate that again? You're crazy. You're crazy.
You're in no place to dish. You need to respect it.
Absolutely.
When Mahomes, the way they got blown out in that game, Mahomes didn't even have a loss total of that. Really?
To the Browns with Jacoby Brissett.
But we see you just like we see the Bills, just like we see the Chargers. That we see you.
Hold on, let me because Pittsburgh picked up somebody too. Everybody has gotten better.
Pittsburgh picked up a receiver. They did pick up. They picked that up.
They absolutely killed the draft.
Allen Robinson. They got Allen Robinson.
And this is
George Pickens.
And this is why I say Pittsburgh has one of the smartest front offices, because they didn't go out and blow their cap money and all the other stuff. They basically made sure that the Rams, if they were going to acquire him, that they acquired him, making sure that the Rams took the boatload of the money that was owed.
And they got Patrick Peterson.
Yep.
To go with Minka Fitzpatrick.
And they just have
and Joey Porter's son.
As long as TJ Watt stays healthy and then they got all those pieces around, they will be just fine.
Yeah,
they got depth behind them. They got depth in that linebacker room in Pittsburgh.
They added a linebacker, didn't they?
Yeah, they drafted. His name is Nick Herbig.
Yeah, that was a good pick there. Man, they just killed the draft.
Tanner Muse. They got Elandon Roberts from the Dolphins.
Yep.
Who used to play for the Patriots.
The floor of that division should be 8-9 or 9-8.
They got Marcus.
It should be.
You see what I'm saying? You go and look at their secondary. They got DeMonte Casey coming back because he was hurt last year. They got Levi Wallace back there. They got depth.
Didn't they draft a defensive end?
Yeah. They drafted Joey Porter too.
Yeah, Joey Porter Jr.
The son. Yeah. They'll be fine.
Like it's like they Bengals fans are just totally delusional, man.
Well, this is how
mean, look at
delusional they
this,
are. I
like,
seen a Bengals
come
fan
on.
put together a list rating the best linebacking cores in the AFC North, and the Bengals were number one on that list. I mean,
course
clearly
they
it's
were.
Baltimore. Clearly it's Baltimore. Look at their
Of course,
We
a
got
Bengals fan would say that.
Rohan Smith and Patrick Queen and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say
Like,
situation. You can
Not to mention they got the kid from Penn State that won them the game against us, Adafe, or
yeah,
whatever his name is.
away.
Yeah, I mean
but
they got
even
so many young pass rushers in Baltimore. It's ridiculous, man.
But even so, as far as like how they rank the linebacker and core and stuff like that, I also have to take a look at the quarterbacks who they're going against in the situationals as well. I'm like with the situation, as far as you deal with that, with Cleveland. I mean, you're getting a Deshaun Watson that might change with him. I mean, arguably, I mean, you can make it a toss up. I mean, personally, I have Burrow as the best quarterback out that division, clearly.
Yeah.
And then I have Jackson as number 2, and then you go all the way down. But if Pittsburgh gets the quarterback right, and if Pittsburgh did have the quarterback right, I mean Hopkins could have been in a situation where you could go there, but for obvious reasons they don't. But I'm excited for the North. I mean, I don't know, they on a delusional talk.
I mean, personally, I feel like Deshaun Watson is in a better situation than Joe Burrow is. I really feel like that because you giving him Nick Chubb, number 1.
Yeah.
Then he has David Njoku, he has Elijah Moore, and he has probably I'd say one of the best route runners in the league in Amari Cooper. Like route for route, nobody runs routes the way that Amari Cooper runs routes.
Yeah, I agree.
Just hands down.
No,
And you given Deshaun you've given Deshaun the ability to get into that community, to get into that team, to know the facility,
get in the locker room,
to know the locker room, to know this offense inside and out, to digest it. So he's no longer looking at his wristband thinking, okay, so Amari's doing this over here, or I got Njoku delaying here. Like, no. It's muscle memory now.
And I think that test run last year will help him.
And the last full year that he played, he led the league in passing. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to say anything else. Don't get me wrong. Joe Burrow is a great quarterback, and he has Jamar and T and Boyd. But for my money, to have somebody in the backfield like Nick Chubb, who can get your defense to creep down, to stop him, and to leave an Elijah Moore and an Njoku and an Amari singled up. All Deshaun Watson has to do is make the right decision with the football. And he's capable of doing that.
He's shown and proven it time and time again. He will do that.
I'm just saying.
I would say, even so, to add on to that, I mean, and I saw the maturity, even so, with adding talking about Amari Cooper. And I think with Amari Cooper, the difference was from him and being the Cowboys, because I'll never forget this too. One of the last plays when he was in Dallas, and it was mind-blowing to me, and that's part of the whole McCarthy thing as well. You can throw that in there as well. It was the moment of all moments where they needed a big play, and Amari Cooper was on the sideline when they had timeouts, and that disturbed me more than anything. I'm like, the biggest moment, for the Cowboys to be able to give it over that hill, and they were not one of them was smart enough to call a timeout to get your star player. And who knows? I mean, maybe Cooper wasn't ready to be that man in the moment. I don't know. And I think, like you said, being that test run, it prepared him to be the man in the moment. And now that you have a Deshaun Watson and everything, that could help. And then somehow, if they were to get D-Hop, that could get rid of some of that pressure, and it would just make their receiving core that much. Whoop, that would be a problem.
Go back to when Amari was a Raider, and look at what he had to deal with.
Yeah,
it was just him and Derek Carr. You know what I'm saying? That's all it was. And he was killing. He was killing. You know what I'm saying? Now imagine him not having to deal with double teams.
Yep.
If you want to double Amari, that's fine, but Elijah Moore is gonna kill you. Elijah Moore is a monster, bro.
Mm-hmm.
People forgot how good he is.
And Joku can get busy. Like
so what's the percentage that D Hop comes to the Chiefs? What's y'all percentage of that?
I try not to get
a need or luxury.
I'm gonna go with like a 40% chance.
I don't have no idea. Maybe it's just, that's why I hate getting caught up in the whole media race and all that. Everybody talking about it's a team, neck and neck, and Buffalo and Chiefs and all that stuff. It's 50-50 to me. I really think it is a 2-team race, although I think it would be a more interesting fit if you went elsewhere. I just think it's 50, and then the fact that he just signed with Clutch makes it that much more interesting because I'm aware as far as like some of his clientele. Actually, the Asians clientele is up in the if you pay attention, is actually in the NFC East because they also have what's his name from they have Devontae over there. He's under that management, and the same thing with Thibodeau and Chase Young. They're all NFC East. Goes figures. But
it's tough.
I mean,
I
you
got 10%.
What?
Yeah. I
got 10%. Unless my optimism will raise until I see the Kansas City Chiefs have gave Chris Jones an extension. They converted Joe Tooney's money to signing bonus money. Once I see the Chiefs making moves, then I'm like, okay, they trying to go get Dion. They trying to make some room to go get Dion. Until that happens, man, they ain't going to get Dion.
I agree 100%. Because you got to take care of Chris first.
You
know what I'm saying?
That's the mindset. I agree. You got to take care of Chris, but just the mind of Visto is absolutely crazy, though. I just don't know.
He's a shrewd operator, man. He's very shrewd, man. Like, I know early in his career he gave out a big contract to Sammy Watkins. I mean, he had a quirky quarterback on a rookie deal. He can do that.
For real. And Sammy was coming off of some big years in LA too. Like he was balling for the Rams.
He needed to.
Sammy was killing.
That's what I'm saying. So, but he had Pat on a
slants 50
deal.
Like,
he can do that. You can't do that right now. You can't just spend all your money on wide receiver right now. You see what they're trying to do. They're trying to build this defense up. That's what they're really trying to do. Beach understands that if we can get the ball back in Pat's hand and get him more possessions, we good.
But you still got to have capable guys. I'm not saying that they don't. You know what I'm saying? I like Rice. You know what I'm saying? I like Justin Ross. I don't know about Watson consistently. You know what I'm saying? Like
Watson needs to be cut, but
I mean, maybe throughout this, maybe I'm looking at it wrong. Maybe with the guys that they got.
No, I understand you're right.
And Noah Gray,
me too.
maybe.
I don't think that's wrong. I don't think that's a wrong philosophy either. That's just me because I just think more so the fact that they're investing in the philosophy and how they run their offense. That's what makes it more interesting. I mean, you can argue both sides, like we've been doing like the last hour or weeks or whatever, or fans or fake fans or think they know it all fans, whatever they want to be. They proved they could do it without D-Hop. It's a luxury. It'd be nice to have them, but I also seen what they do as far as being able to evolve and make Patrick better. And we're talking about a guy that's not even in his prime.
Right.
That's the crazy part about it. He's got the running backs involved. Who knows? It could be one of these tight end years where all of a sudden you start to see a distribution of the tight end takeoff. I don't know because like nobody could.
If it's Jody, I'm happy.
You could not have told me.
Don't sleep on Noah Gray, man. Don't sleep on
No. Damn all that. It's got to be Jody. If I see them split Jody out wide and let him get a slant route and let him eat, man, I'm happy. I listen. I would be happy. I wouldn't say nothing all year. I'd be happy.
And that's not to knock Noah Gray or anything, but I don't see Noah Gray having the same skill set.
See Jody out wide, catching passes and balling, dog. Oh, but you could still get That's the beauty of it. You can have Jody split out wide. You can have Travis split out wide, and you can move Noah Gray and let him stand up. He ain't got to put his hand in the dirt. Let him stand up. Just move him closer to tackle, and let him run deep over routes or deep drag routes or comeback routes, and let him cook all day. All day. They can have all three of them on the field at one time, and Patrick can have his choice of who he's going to go to. But if Jody's out there, damn D-Hop. I don't need D-Hop as long as they got Jody. Damn D-Hop.
Remember that pass in the Chargers game?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Let my dog Jody get his work in. Give him the opportunities, Andy. Please trust in him.
That's how I felt about
you that he can make plays.
Last year.
But I'm glad y'all talked me off the ledge. Y'all right. We don't need D-Hop. Damn D-Hop. Come on, Jody.
But D-Hop or Jody, I don't know. That's a crazy trade.
Listen, man. But even Jody so, be getting busy, dog.
He does, and I've been saying the same thing about Jody for 2 years, 2 off seasons. I've been wanting to see him get involved.
Jody be cooking.
We're talking about, we're talking about all these unknowns. We're talking about, see how we're jumping off is that we don't know the unknowns as far as with the receiving core. We don't know the unknowns of how they're going to use the tight ends. Even with Jody, it would be nice to see. We don't even, and here's a crazy piece of it all, though. We talked about McKinnon and Pacheco. We don't even know what it's going to look like with Clyde coming on a contract year. We don't know because typically players on a contract year, they ball out.
Clyde going for a G, baby. Going for 1,000 yards.
So who knows?
No, not happening, Craig. He ain't gonna see the field enough to get 1,000 yards.
Forget y'all. I'm getting my 1,000.
But with the absence of
like Pacheco, sit your ass down.
Now we know that ain't happening. but we just don't know.
My job.
That's a damn fool.
Yeah, he's trolling now.
But let me ask y'all this. Let me ask y'all this though. Let's do it by player. What are the 3 biggest unknowns that you have as far as with just three players?
Kadarius Toney. Probably Clyde. I don't know how they're gonna use him.
They're not gonna use him at all, but
and the offensive line, Jawan Taylor,
the tackles, both of them,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Those are the unknowns right there.
Mm-hmm. I had to throw Jody in there too.
Mm-hmm.
Why you bring him back? If what do you keep bringing him back for? Only for him to make these plays in preseason
in week 1, and then just stash him away.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know how Andy works, man. Andy weird.
Why?
He weird. He weird.
Let him go. Shit. Let him go get that production somewhere.
No.
I would say though, for me,
Jody's complaining. He got a Super Bowl ring. He complaining.
No, he ain't complaining right now. No.
No,
he did say. No, I did read
say,
somewhere where Jody said he hopes Andy has more faith in him this year. Yeah.
I actually. I would say though, my 3 biggest unknowns as far as the situation are both of them are on the line, and then Tony. Those are my 3 biggest question marks that I have. I mean, you can say all you want about all the other receivers and everything, and we always talk about versatility and whatnot, stuff like that, and we talk about how we have obviously we have Clyde and Pacheco, he would have 1,000 yards if he started the season. And if we had a consistency, I mean, we had the expectation that Brown was going to be back coming in this year. That was our expectation. The reason why we were probably thinking about that, so that way, so we have some familiarity on the line, and they'll know how to, as far as how the running backs and how that's going to work. But we don't know how these guys are going to be able to protect Pat and stuff like that. Granted, we talk about we spent X amount of dollars on the left tackle, and all of a sudden, we're going to move him back to right tackle because he seemed like he know what he's doing on left tackle. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my biggest question marks is definitely it's probably the 2 tackles, definitely left tackle more than right tackle, because I'm still confused about the Jawan Taylor situation, and really nobody's given me a good enough answer on this to not question it to this point still.
They can't give you a good answer. Like
never been done before.
Exactly.
The Chiefs is zagging while everybody uses
But
I
Even
still
with-
got to see him because you signed him and you gave him all that money, and then everybody told me he's going to be a left tackle, and this dude didn't even get one rep at left tackle before they decided, nah, he's to be all right tackle. Not even one rep. Not even one rep.
And he was like, I ain't about to do this to Pat, man. What y'all doing? I ain't about to do this.
I just keep looking at that first round tape from when Chargers played Jacksonville and how he was on Bosa's side. Because in that first half, if you watch it closely, he was getting ate up basically on that side. Bad. And
so
then
was he left or right?
Right.
Right.
Okay.
And then in the second half, they said he did better, but I'm looking at it from, a referee point of view. This dude was getting jumps like there's no tomorrow that I thought could have been called false starts. I'm like, yeah, anybody, even the best could have been shut down had he had a full blown.
That's why Bosa was frustrated.
That's why he got penalized. If you look at why he got penalized, it was that.
I do remember that. Yep.
That's a big concern that I have. And I say, okay, we're gonna flex him left, then you're gonna move back to right. I'm like,
yep. I remember both of us.
Like,
can't be no worse than Wiley.
But he's
like this.
$30 million more than Wiley.
He's gonna have to deal with Bosa twice a year.
So did Wiley.
And twice a year, Bosa's already in his head. So
and Wiley held his own, though. I mean, really, if you look at the numbers,
and
Orlando Brown did worse than Andrew Wiley did last year. I can break down. We can look at the numbers.
I mean, that ain't the sole reason why we got McKinnon back there, but I'm just saying. Watching that tape kind of concerns me. And you can talk about the season, all this stuff, but we can talk about the whole.
You got Donovan Smith.
Hey, at the end of the day,
you got Donovan Smith.
At the end of the day, bro, if Jawan Taylor, and that's an expensive but if he don't
very expensive,
that's
Versace expensive.
Hopefully, Lucas Niang is ready.
If he don't work out on the right side, that contract will hinder the Chiefs' Super Bowl aspirations for years to come.
That's why I don't get excited talking about, it's talking about he only allowed this amount of hurries and it'd be like 1 or 2 or whatever. I'm like, yeah, but also consider the division that they play too. Listen, I ain't stupid.
Playing the Texans.
I want to know who was in the room when they said, let's sign Donovan Smith.
What the? You've been drinking?
Who agreed to that?
Andy Reid.
But I mean, I'm giving benefit of the doubt. I said maybe
he's shaking his head. I'm right there with you.
I'm like maybe it's a scheme. In this, I'm talking in reach language for the record. Maybe it was a scheme. Maybe it just doesn't fit. Maybe it better be a better operational. I don't know. Maybe, and that's just a reach. But from the realistic level, I'm like,
they didn't do nothing last year. Man.
From a realistic,
why you think Tom said no? It's been fun, Tampa.
He had too many holding calls. I think he led the league last year.
Listen, he's oh my God.
He's had one good year, and I've seen a lot of Chiefs fans saying, we hope we get this version of him. But really, that's the outlier year. That's the year that's the one year he did good. That's the outlier. Not all the other years he did bad. That's the one outlier.
He's been ass all this time.
2016.
And y'all chose him over a guy that's been here, battled the adversity, fought his way back, was projected to be the starting right tackle last year. Like, I mean, what more does this kid have to do to prove that he's ready and you can count on him? Like, you signed Donovan Smith, man.
And then what threw me off when they drafted Wanye Morris, I thought, okay, he's running right. Mm-hmm. Taylor's running left, so now you drafted him. So are they trying to move him over to left? Like it's a lot of moving parts with these tackles.
Yeah, definitely unknowns on that offensive line. All right, fellas, I got to get up on out of here. Got a little emergency I got to get to, but good conversation, y'all. We got two of us that's pretty optimistic about optimistic about D-Hop signing. Some of us are not. Me and Clarence are not optimistic about D-Hop signing with the Chiefs. I see him signing with like the Browns or the Lions or somebody like that. Maybe Buffalo moves some stuff around. I could see them converting some money over from Von Miller, maybe restructuring his contract. Because Von Miller probably wants to win. He wants to try to win the Super Bowl. So I can see Von Miller cooperating and say, look, convert some of my money over. Let's go get D-Hop. So I can see the Bills. I see the Bills more so getting them because they're desperate. They're in desperate times. You know what I'm saying? They are
like this is it for them. That window's closing.
This is it. This is it. And this is their window. And it's closing more and more and more as the division is getting better and better and better. The Jets got better, Miami got better. So, you know, it's
I hope their running game get better because that's what they need to answer. I don't care if they get D-Hop or not. That's just point blank, period.
Yep. We'll see, fellas. All right, man. Let's give a shout out to the sponsor, Every Morning Quarterback. If you look down at the bottom, you'll see the link, emqpodcast.com/locker-room. If you go to that link, you can go to Every Morning Quarterback locker room access of all the podcasts that's under the Every Morning Quarterback umbrella. They got a 49ers one, a Patriots one, the Jets one, and they got ours, Arrowhead Chief Podcast. Click on the banner. You'll see all of our episodes, the recent ones and the past ones. Also, check out their YouTube channel. They talk about everything league-wide. They also have betting tips. They talk about college football. So give them a shout-out, subscribe to their channel, and look them up, man. And also follow them on Twitter, EMQ Podcast. And whatever streaming platform that you use, whether it be Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, Breaker, Anchor, whatever you use, Arrowhead Chief Podcast is on there. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Follow us. If you rather just listen to us than to just watch us on YouTube, go ahead and go and follow us on any of those platforms. And whatever social media platform you use, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or Twitter, you can follow us. We will follow you back because, Clarence, what is our motto?
Because we ain't Hollywood, bro.
We ain't Hollywood over here, man. We fans just like y'all. We want to give y'all the best Chiefs content that's out there. So go and hit us up. Give us feedback. Give us suggestions. Give us topics that you guys want us to cover. Anything. Yeah. Just make sure it's within reason and talk to us nice and normal.
Or Ty's coming to your house.
Yeah, he's coming to your house. He's going to punch you in the face.
Then give you an atomic elbow.
And a Hulkamania leg drop.
Man, but no. I don't know about all this.
I didn't sign up for this, guy.
Yeah. Hope everybody has a good week. I'm gonna be out of town. I'm going to Virginia to see my daughter graduate. Shout out to my baby.
Congrats. Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Right on.
Congrats,
right on.
Man.
So you guys have a good week.
Absolutely.
All right, fellas. Till next time. Hopefully we get some better news.
Yeah, we gone.